Lich here with Rebel News, and I am on a work exemption from my house arrest and in Oyen, Alberta for tonight's evening on Alberta Sovereignty, hosted by Chris Scott and Kathy Flett, called Planning for Our Future. We are down here at the Oyen Senior Center, so we're going to go inside and check it out and see what everyone has to say. So I'm joined by Kathy Flett, from one of the official spokespeople from the APP. Kathy, what can people expect to hear from you tonight?
I like to take the historical route when we're talking about Alberta independence, because a lot of people don't know our history. They don't know how we even became a province. Okay. And then once they learn how we became a province, the anger elevates even more because people think we negotiated our way in, and we didn't. Mm-hmm. We were literally colonized. Yeah. And so when we look at that and how we became a province, how we were literally forced into Confederation as Alberta and as Saskatchewan for that matter, and then what Confederation looks like today, I go through a bunch of different headlines and say, this is our country. Like, Are you cool with this? Is this actually where you want to live? Because we don't have to.
Well, and one of the classic questions that you hear at most of these independence events is, if Alberta was already a separate nation and was offered to join Confederation with what we're dealing with now, would you choose that? And the overwhelming answer is no.
Exactly. It is no, especially when you start to go down all the different rabbit trails of what exactly it is we belong to when we're part of this country. And then see just on the national stage what an embarrassment it's been for the last 12 years. And Carney's not any better. He still spends more time overseas than he does at home. Like, where's your priorities? What's going on?
It'd be nice if you'd show up in the House of Commons every once in a while.
Sometimes, right? Sometimes.
But you've been at this game a long time. Like, you've been very active in Alberta provincial politics and, of course, the independence movement. So, I mean, what do you think sets this apart, this particular moment in time, as opposed to other times when the independence movement has gained a bit of momentum?
We've never made it this far, as far as support, as far as gaining the attention of the politicians at every single level. It's serious this time, whereas before it was just always a bunch of complaining. They were able to kind of pound everybody back down into their place, but this time there's too many Albertans that are saying, no, you're not doing it. And the other thing that sets this time apart is we left the politicians out of it.
Good point.
It's just the people. It's literally a movement of the people.
That's good. And those seem to be the ones that work the best, in my opinion.
Every
but I'm a
time.
little bit biased.
You would know. You led the way. You showed us, right? You showed us, this is how you got to do it this time.
First of all, I want to say that a lot of events that have been happening like this over the past few years, it's generally been, sometimes often me and other people at the front of a room speaking at people, telling them the things. My vision here is that we get more people in who are on the fence about Alberta's future, opposed to what I want for Alberta's future, and we start having discussions. And I want them to ask questions and have a two-way communication rather than the classic give a speech, everybody claps and leaves, whatever. This is more for to open the lanes of communication with people who aren't necessarily on board.
I agree, because when you go out to a lot of these events, you're sort of preaching to the choir. So this is an opportunity to have a conversation with people that are still quite sitting on the fence, want to have a serious discussion, a conversation, like you said, a dialogue, and not be spoken at. What are some of the top concerns that you're hearing from Albertans as far as seeking Alberta independence?
The most common concern I hear is concerns that we can't get it done, or it's not going to happen soon enough. It's not necessarily that people are opposed to the idea, it's that they're unsure of the logistics of it and how it would work. If you want some more finer details, people are concerned about things like currency and trade and our geographical position within North America. What else? Military, those types of things, right? How do we do this? How do we move from a province to a sovereign nation taking care of these things ourselves? And the opportunity that we have to do those things is just, it's unreal. The opportunity to control our own monetary policy, to negotiate our own trade deals, which we can't do right now. I mean, people are concerned about trade and they say, what's it going to be like in independent Alberta? And I say, what's our trade like now? Yeah. We're supposed to be part of this unified nation working together to prosper, and it doesn't work that way. So this is an opportunity, and more so on a grander scale, it's an opportunity for Albertans and possibly even Canadians to, for the first time in our history, as the people who are governed by these laws, to have a say in what they look like. We never participated in any kind of a constitution in Canada. It was written for us in London. It was brought back for us by Pierre Elliott Trudeau, and it was imposed on us. So we have an opportunity that people often fight wars for, and that is to declare our independence and sovereignty and tell the government how they can act rather than how the government tell us how we're going to act.
One final question for you. Throughout the years and the decades, we've seen the sentiment for Alberta independence sort of ebb and flow. And what do you think makes this particular moment in time stand apart?
There's a few things. The first is we've tried everything else. From the West Wants In with the Reform Party to a Western Prime Minister in Stephen Harper. Nothing that we thought could fix the problems we have has worked. Now we're at a point where we just got out of a terribly long bad relationship with Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government, and it was not good for the West. We kind of breathed a sigh of relief when the election came, and then we're just flabbergasted when Canada again elected a government that seems to just be more than willing to use Alberta as a sacrificial lamb, So we've tried all those things. We know it doesn't work. We've been educating Albertans for a few years now on the merits and benefits of independence. And people understand now that if we're going to fix these things, there really is only one way, and that's Alberta independence. So that's what's different now, is that we've kind of, all of the events in the last 40 years have culminated in what we're seeing now in Alberta, which is just a desire to grow up, get out on our own, and be good neighbors of the rest of Canada.
Right. And free.
And free.
What are you hoping to hear from about this evening?
Just a little more information on whereabouts we're going, and I'm all behind it anyway, but you always learn when you come out to these events. Mm-hmm. And I try to drag as many friends as I can get out here.
Well, just see where they're going, and just come out and listen, see how many people come out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to learn how it will benefit young people.
Yes.
And how they're advertising. I am into this just because my parents are into this and I've done my own research, but I know a lot of people who I went to high school with that not really into politics, so I'm wondering how they can advertise it to people my age.
To reach more
Yes,
youth your age.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what are your top concerns? Like, what are some of your two biggest reasons for wanting to seek an independent Alberta?
Started way back with Pierre Elliott Trudeau in the 80s. I've been fighting this for 40 years.
Yes, yeah.
Stirring the pot, trying to get people to wake up and take a look at what's going on, because I just can't see it lasting the way we are in Canada.
We'd be better off. We'd have more money as a province to look after our schools, our health care, our pensions, everything. We'd be a far better off province.
As a young person, I believe that my future is pretty important. I work as a heavy-duty apprentice, so I don't want all my money going to, Carney and all those folks. So I don't know. I think it's important, especially as a young person, to make smart decisions right now. So
I agree. I mean, as a young person in Canada now, you're looking at, being unable to afford a home, just the cost of living in general, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Like, I have a pretty high gas bill. I drive back and forth from the Hat and stuff, but gas and even groceries, I'm buying groceries on my own. Like, I'm pretty much living at my own costs. And, to only be able to put a few $100 into savings for a house is pretty sad. So, yeah.
I spoke with both Kathy Flett and Chris Scott earlier, and one of the questions I asked them was, we've seen the independent sentiment in our province sort of ebb and flow throughout for decades. What do you think sets this kind of moment in time apart for the independence movement?
It's just been building, I feel, and people are starting to wake up to the problems. The last election was a big disappointment. Honestly, don't believe that's the way it really went, but it's tough. Most people are starting to wake up is what I think the biggest thing is. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's standing room only here in Oyen, Alberta for Chris Scott and Kathy Flett's Alberta Sovereignty Evening, an informational event to have a conversation about planning our future as an independent Alberta. It's so full, they're actually even bringing in more chairs. So it's really great to see. This is a small community. Roughly about 917 people lived here as of the 2021 census. It's predominantly a very freedom-minded and independence-minded community. Former MLA Rick Strankman comes from Oyen, Alberta, actually. So we have a great crowd out here tonight. We're just waiting for Chris Scott and everybody to get rolling to start the conversation here this evening. What do you think about Alberta independence? Do you want to live in a free country?
Yes.
That's a big 10-4. As you know, Rebel News doesn't take a red cent from the government, and we are fully funded and supported by people like you. If you want to continue to see these reports at these independence events, please go to independencereports.com.